It has been one of those weeks. Hello and welcome back to Catholic Homebody. I'm Roxanne, and in this video I'm going to be setting up my homeschool bullet journal for the month of September 2021, along with giving some tips on how I homeschool multiple kids. So grab a cup of your favorite drink and your planners, and let's get to it. So I'm first going to start setting up my monthly spread for September of 2021, and I decided to go with a more scrapbooky theme and am just using brown craft paper. I have decided that I want to use my homeschool bullet journal also as a scrapbook keepsake of this year's homeschool memories. So I went out and I bought this Kodak retro mini printer. It prints 3x3 inch pictures, and I just got this off of Amazon. I forget exactly how much I paid, but I've decided to try to be more mindful about taking pictures throughout our homeschool year, and I'm going to keep them all in my homeschool bullet journal. Our local schools had their first day of school earlier this week, and of course everybody was posting up their kids' back to school pictures. Since I forgot to take any official school pictures for our official first day of this homeschool year, I decided to take not back to school day pictures and add those to my bullet journal. And I decided, again, since I want to make this more scrapbooky, I'm just using some scrap pieces of paper that I've had. And I've also decided to add one of my favorite quotes from Elizabeth Foss, which is, "When the atmosphere encourages learning, the learning is inevitable." I have seen a lot of fellow bullet journal lovers adding mood trackers to their bullet journals, and I personally have never been interested in that, but I've decided that I think it would actually be very beneficial if I tracked my mood, because I want to try to be the best teacher for my children. And if I happen to be grumpy all the time, that is not good for anybody. And I also just sort of thought it would be really nice to also be more mindful of how is it that my kids' moods seem while we are doing our studies. And I'm also adding a habit tracker of the different habits that I feel we need to work on to better our homeschool experience. Things such as regularity, like starting at a certain time. I would like them to go outside every day and practice the habit of attention. And from the wise Charlotte Mason, "The mother who takes pains to endow her children with good habits secures herself for smooth and easy days." Next, I have decided that I wanted to have a space in my bullet journal that had a list of all the books that the kids read independently, and I decided to just make basic boxes that looked sort of similar to the old school little library punch cards that you used to get, and one of my kids unfortunately scribbled all on our family read aloud page, so I went ahead and made a new one here. The family read aloud page is set up exactly how it was last time, where it has date, title, author, along with a rating of the book. Originally, I had these school year at a glance in my teacher binder, and I have highlighted everything sort of by term, along with like what week would fall on what date. And this sort of had sort of like our breaks or any holidays sort of already pre-planned, and I felt the need to go ahead and have this in my actual homeschool bullet journal versus my teacher binder. I sort of decided to try to have as much as my teacher stuff all in one place. So I've decided to go ahead and just paste these into my homeschool bullet journal. The one on the left is my girls' year at a glance, and the one on the right is for my middle schooler. Since he's in middle school and has a lot more work, his is just a little different than, say, what the girls is, but the breaks are pretty much the same, so there's not too big of a difference, but just enough to where I do have two. Another thing that I'll be transferring from my teacher binder over into my homeschool bullet journal is all of my master checklist that I have created for all of the essential books and textbooks for all of my kids' curriculum. I love having checklists, and this just helps me keep on track and see how things are going throughout the year. A tip I have for teaching multiple kids is combine certain subjects. So my girls, their math and language arts are all individual, but they do history, science, and most of the religion together, along with the majority of our family read-alouds. Another tip is I find it easier for at least myself to pick one subject to teach at a time. So if it's time for me to teach math, then I'm going to want to teach everyone math. Even though math is something that is one-on-one with each kid, they just take turns, but it's just easier for my mind to pick a subject and then just do that one subject with all the kids, say, versus like, okay, right now I'm gonna sit down with Avila, work on her math, and then I'm gonna work on language arts with Kateri or whatever. So it's just way easier for my mind to, I'm in math mode and I'm teaching math for the next about hour and a half to get through, say, all of the kids. And it's just, again, I find it easier for my brain to concentrate on just the one subject, and it allows them to get a little break after each subject. The weekly spread that I am currently working on now is a new layout. I decided to try to see how it would be if I had each one of my school-age children have their own individual space for the week, and I'm not quite sure if I'll like this or not, but it's just something that I've been contemplating for a while now, and we'll see how this weekly spread works out. All of my weekly spreads for the rest of this month are done in sort of that more traditional planner looking style. A huge thing that I have found to be essential for my sanity and when it comes to teaching multiple kids is trying to keep things as easy on mommy as possible. And that is sort of a huge factor as to why I created those open and go homeschool folders. If you would like to see my video about that, that link will be in the description below. But having my open and go homeschool folders and creating a system to where the majority of our homeschool curriculum was all in one place and allowing it to be as much as possible open and go really helps with the stress of homeschooling multiple kids. A couple quick tips for homeschooling when you have toddlers or babies is trying to fill their buckets and giving them as much of attention prior to homeschool sessions, because that just helps feed that need for mommy's attention. Another thing is I like to stock up on as much quiet little busy things like Play-Doh or Michael's. I saw this year had sensory bins already like pre-made where it came with like the sand and the little like figures or whatever it was, or making your own. And having those things on hand and having things that are meant for only when it's school time do you get your special busy playthings. Having these little special things just really helps at least distract my little ones. And here is my final flip through for my homeschool bullet journal, September 2021. So now I would like you to comment below with any advice or tips and tricks that you may have up your sleeve on how to homeschool multiple kids. I think it would be just great advice, especially for any new homeschoolers that are watching this. I know that my homeschool is not perfect by any means, and I myself wouldn't mind maybe some new ideas. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, along with don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any of my other homeschool video content. And I'll see you next month when I set up my homeschool bullet journal for October.